All right, guys, let's get started. Everyone all set? Has everybody got their piece of paper ready? You need a piece of A4 paper and a pencil to start with, okay? So I've just got a 2B pencil here, but you can have HB or whatever. Make sure it's quite nice and sharp, actually, because that's quite important so we can get the nice, sharp, crisp lines to it, okay? Now, as you can see from the bugs I have already done, they are all created, or all have in them, they have some heart shapes. Can you see? They're all created from different shape, different size hearts. They've all, if you look really closely, it's a bit of a puzzle actually trying to work out where they all are. But that's what we're going to be doing today, okay? So hopefully you're all good at practicing, good at drawing hearts. I will show you how to, if you're not quite sure. Okay. You might have an idea actually already in your mind about what kind of colours you want to do or what shapes you want to do. What I did with mine, and we'll go into the painting bit in a minute, but what I did with mine is I tried to keep my colour palette quite limited. So for each of my bugs, I chose colours which went together and sort of matched each other. And I just chose 2 or 3 colours per bug. And I just found that it looks a bit more sort of, more sort of composed and more together, more thought about if you sort of think about your colours, okay? If you want to do multicoloured ones, that's absolutely fine as well. Also, if you want to do lots of little ones all over your page, that's okay. Or you might want to do just one big one and maybe some little ones sort of scampering around the outside. All right, so you can choose how you do this. This is entirely up to you. I did mine, so they were scampering all over the page in different directions. I've got some going this way, some going that way, and it just looks like they're sort of all crawling around. But again, if you want to keep them all in a line, you can do. You want to do them in a circle, perhaps, you could do that as well. So the possibilities are endless of how you could compose it. Okay, okay. Let's get started. So we're going to start doing the drawing first of all, and then we're going to move on to the painting. So I'm just going to place my piece of paper just there so you can sort of see it a bit more clearly, but hopefully you still got a view of what we're doing as well. Hopefully you can see both pieces of paper there. Okay, so I'm going to press quite hard with my pencil so that you can see it on the camera, because it can come out quite light otherwise, but I suggest that you guys actually press quite lightly with your pencil, all right? Just because it's easy to rub out the pencil marks at the end. I'm going to put him there actually, because he's quite a good one to draw as well. This one here, okay. Right, so I'm going to start off by just drawing. I'm going to do the first one sort of facing upwards, so facing up towards the top of the page. So I'm going to draw a heart shape. So we just draw a curve like this, and it goes down to a point like that. Or landscape or portrait. You can do it either way. There's a question there. They do landscape or portrait, either way. Okay, and then I'm going to do the mirror on the other side. Exactly the same, so symmetrical side, symmetry, so the same on the other side, down to the point. There, so I've already got a heart, okay? Most of you are really good at drawing hearts, I know you are, because those of you who were here last week did hearts as well. Okay. And then what we can do, so that's our main body of this bug, okay? And then what we can do is we can add shapes to it. Now I'm going to add a little sort of semicircle. So this is going to be like the, I think it's called the thorax actually of the bug. These are all make-believe, by the way. They're all make-believe, so they're not real bugs. We're just imagining them, so make them bright and beautiful as possible. Okay, so I've just done a little like chest bit here, it's like the thorax part. Okay. So really simple so far. So I'm just doing one heart for this bug, but in the next bug that I do, I might put 2 hearts in it. Okay, and then I'm just going to add some sort of bulging eyes on the side of his head, or side of his chest. Is it a chest or a head? Not sure. Here we go. Like that. So really simple shapes. Okay. And actually, I'm going to add another little heart. I said I wouldn't, but I think I might just draw a small heart. This one's going to be an upside down heart to make like a sort of like a nose, I suppose. Can you see that there? An upside down heart there. Now, if you try and keep it as simple as possible to start with, because you'll find them much easier to paint and to sort of fill in the shapes later on when it comes to painting them. You don't want to do them too small, otherwise they get a little bit fiddly to paint. Okay. Okay, and we're going to start drawing some legs now. Now I'm going to give my bug 6 legs because all insects have 6 legs, as you know. Okay, so let's start with, these ones are going to come up towards the side of his head. So I'm going to draw, what I'm going to draw first of all is just sort of like the first section of the leg. They're in sort of 3 different sections, these legs. And then another section here. And then one sort of sticking out a bit. Like that. Can you see that? And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to do the first section here. And another one sort of going up. And then one going out. Like that. So it's starting to look a bit more like a bug now. I'm going to go for the middle legs now. So these ones here. So again, I'm going to do the same first section. Okay, and then I'm going to do these ones going down actually. Like that. And then a little, it's almost like a foot, isn't it? But I know they don't really have feet. And then one like that. And then we'll do the same on the other side. First section. If you want to just carry on in your own time, some of you might be working ahead of you, it's absolutely fine. You just go for it. Work in your own time, at your own pace. Oh, sorry, I need to slow down. Sorry, I will slow down. Okay. So I've done 4 legs so far. I'm going to add antennae and another set of legs as well shortly. How are you guys all doing? If you want to hold them up to the camera so I can see, I'd love to see them as he's looking great. Well done. Barry, that's lovely. Lovely, Isla. Who else we got? Oh, hi, Alex. I didn't see you there. Nice to see you. Let me see. Oh, great. These are looking great, guys. And good sizes as well. They're not too tiny, which is good. Brilliant. Well done, everyone. Clemency, that's looking good. Frankie, love yours. Oh, she's done all her legs already. Well done, Frankie. Fabulous. How are you doing, Amy? Nice to see you. Okay. I'm just going to carry on with my 6 legs. I'm hoping you guys have caught up if you're, sorry if I'm rushing a bit. Okay, I'm going to do the bottom set of legs now, okay? So the first section of the first leg, like that. I don't know if you can see this actually. If I move this over a bit, I'm trying to do something similar to this one here. Oops. And then one going down, like that. And then the little leggy thing on the end, foot on the end, like that. Okay, and same on the other side. One. You don't have to divide the legs into 3 sections if you don't want to. I'm just doing this just because of how I quite like to do them, but you don't have to do the same, it's up to you. Okay, so as you can see, it's looking much more like a bug now. Okay, and now you can just add details as you want to. So with this one here, I don't know if you can see, but I added a line down the middle of the heart. And then I also added some shapes onto this bit here as well. So I'm just going to add a bit more detail to this little chap, and then I'm going to start painting him. Okay. So I think I'm going to divide these up. Maybe actually, what you could do is you could add some small heart shapes into these if you wanted to. This shape here. So I might try and do that. Little upside down hearts here. One there. And one there. So the hearts don't have to be the same way around. They could be sideways on, they could be upside down. You can do them how you would like to do them. I haven't done my antennae yet, so I'll do those next. Okay, some little lines coming up here. One there. And then I'll make it the same on the other side too. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to put that line down the middle too. It's a bit like it's a bit like a beetle, isn't it? Or perhaps with wings on it. Okay, so that's all I'm going to draw for my first bug. Okay, and so we're going to move on to the painting shortly for that one. What I will do actually, yeah, I think we'll start painting this one first. And then while this one's drying, we can then start drawing other bugs around the outside. Does that sound good? Okay, so grab yourself your pot of water. You've got a little pot of water at hand and your watercolour paints. And have a think about the colours that you want to do your bug in, your first bug. Okay, I'm going to do, I think I might do a red and orange one. So I'm just going to pick the red and orange colours in my palette and just use those. But if you want to do it multicoloured, you're very welcome to. Okay, is everyone ready to start painting? The size brush I've got, some of you might be interested to know, is a 4. Different people have different size in their brush, but it's quite a small brush. You can sort of see the size in relation to my hand, actually, so it's that sort of size. Okay, you might need a smaller one as well for a bit later on. I've got this one, which is a 0 size, this one here. That's for more the fine detail we'll add in a bit. But for now, we'll just use the 4, or the medium-sized one you've got. Okay, so dip your brush into your water. I'm going to work on the main body of this bug first of all. So I'm just going to dip my brush into the water, and I'm just going to paint with water. No paint needed just yet. Just going to wet the page or wet the area I'm going to paint first of all, just with a bit of water. Okay, so I've done that side and this side too. Don't make it really, really wet, but just slightly wet. Okay, so it'll be a bit invisible at the moment because you can't see it, but it's definitely wet. Okay. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your paint, the colour you're going to choose. I've got a lovely sort of ready, sort of fiery orangey colour here. This one here, which I'm going to use first of all. Make a little puddle of it on my palette. Okay, and I'm just going to drop that colour onto that wet area, okay? And as you can see, the colour just sort of takes itself off, really. You don't have to do much to it. It just sort of moves around the wet area by itself. Okay. I'm going to choose a second colour, and while it's still wet, so that the colours can blend together. Okay, so I'm going to choose I might do a slightly lighter orange now. So with this next colour, the second colour, I'm just going to drop it just underneath the area that I've just done. So you will find that your colours will start blending together really nicely. I've done 2 little orange splodges there, and what I'm seeing is that the colour is slowly bleeding in and sort of blending out around it. Okay, it doesn't matter that they're different either side. Okay, don't worry about the symmetry for this. Maybe keep it symmetrical with the colours, but it's very difficult to control watercolour. So you're just going to have to let it go and just go with it, okay? But I think that's part of the charm of it, if it's all a little bit more mottled and a bit different. Now, right down the tip, I've gone for a bright red, sort of like a dark sort of crimson colour. And I'm just sort of blotting that on. It's still quite wet down there, but just with the water, I'm going to help it along a bit and take the paint further up the body, up towards the colours I've already done. And can you see it sort of all blending in nicely? I'm going to stick to those 3 colours that I've got there at the moment. So I've got it's like a yellowy orange in the middle, that sort of orange colour there, and that dark red. So I'm just going to stick to those colours for now. I'm just going to add a little bit more. I'm just going to play around with it really and just see how the colours sort of just move around the water. I'm going to take up to the edge up here. Just watch all the colours swirling together. It's important you don't hold your page up at this stage because otherwise all the colour will just run. I'm going to add little orange specks. Can you see? Just to some of the areas there. I'm going to hold mine up but horizontally so it doesn't run, just to show you a bit closer. Oops. And as it dries, those colours will just blend together really nicely. Okay, I'm going to add a bit more of the dark red. And the good thing about watercolours, you can just layer it up as well. So once this first layer is dry, and watercolour does dry lighter, so just be aware it won't dry as bright as it is now, but you can layer it up. So once this first layer is dry, you'll be able to layer on more paint on top to make it really bold. Okay. I'm just going to leave that as it is for now. I'm going to work on a different part of the bug. So I'm going to start on his legs, I think. I'm going to keep the same colour palette, so I'm going to use those 3 colours I used on the body. I've got a nice orange. And I'm just going to start filling in those legs with that orange colour. This is just dry paper. I haven't wet the paper on the legs. Underneath the legs, it's just dry. So I don't really want the colours to blend too much on the legs. So you might find it easier if you've got a slightly smaller brush to use your smaller brush for the legs, obviously, because it's finer detail. See how you get on. Okay, I'm going to use a slightly darker red for the next set of legs. You might find that if your colours touch the body, so where the legs touch the body, you might see that the colours start blending together, but I think that would look quite cool. So I'll make that, I'm mixing together a bit of red and the orange here actually on these legs. I'd love to know what colours you guys are doing. And in a minute, as long as they're not too wet, you might have to show me in a minute, okay? But don't hold them up just yet because they're a bit too wet. Okay, and then on to the third set of legs. A bit later on, when this is completely dry, we're going to add some detail to it using a fine liner, a black fine liner. So we can add some patterns and some textures onto them, okay? But we'll have to wait until they're completely dry before we do that. Okay, I'm going to move on to the chest area now. I think I might do you know what I might do? This nose bit here, I might do that as a dark, dark red colour. Quite a solid red. And then the antennae, I'm going to do orange. Just be careful where you put your hand. You don't want to put your hand in any of the wet areas because you'll smudge it otherwise. Super careful. Okay. I'm going to go slightly darker with these eyes on the end, on the side, these bulging eyes. I'm going to go slightly like a darker orangey red colour. So I'm going to mix together a red and an orange together. So I'm still keeping to my colour palette, but I'm just going to try and mix them together, just using those two. And I'm going to keep an area of it white, because that area can be the sort of the shiny bit of his eye. Can you see that? Hopefully you're right, you can see it. And the same on this side too. Okay. Now I'm actually going to leave the rest of it for now until the surrounding area is a bit drier, because I don't really want this bit here blending into the wet bit on the back here. So I'm going to let that dry for a bit, and I'm going to turn my paper around, and I'm just going to start working on another bug. Okay, I'm just going to turn it around so I don't get my hands in the wet one there. Okay, move that out of the way slightly. Okay, so I'm going to start drawing another bug just here. Now this one's going to be pointing in that direction, so he's going to go that way. And I'm going to do a slightly different shape this way. I'm going to do more of a long, a bit similar to this one here, a long skinny one. Okay, now he's made up of, how many hearts he got in him? 1, 2, 3, I think I can count there. So if you want to, you can have a go at this one here. Or if you want to, you can have a go at this little one here as well. This one's got wings, it's quite nice. I might try on that one in a minute. I'm going to do the long skinny one first of all. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to draw a heart shape, but this time I'm going to make it quite long and skinny, this one, so quite long and Here we go. Can you see the shape I'm drawing? So rather than being a fat heart, it's more sort of long, longer shape. Can you see that? Slightly different to the shape I drew earlier on. Okay. And then underneath, I'm going to draw an upside down heart to make the tail bit, or the end of him here. Can you see? But I haven't drawn, you could do if you wanted to, you could draw the rest of the hearts, so sort of overlapping each other. Can you see that? You could do that if you wanted to. You can always rub out one of those if you don't like the lines later on, you can rub them out or paint over them. Okay. And then I'm going to join up the big heart to the little heart with some straight lines. Sorry, let me look at the chat. I hope you guys are all okay. I'm just going to look at the chat and see if there's any questions. I think everyone's okay. Let me know if there's any questions. Oh, someone's saying blue. Who's that? Laura. She's doing blue. Lovely. If you're doing a few bugs on the page, you can make all different colours if you want to. It'd be lovely to have different colours. I can see lots of mums and dads joining us today, which is good to see. Hope they're going to show their work later too. Have a look and see, guys. Very good. Yeah, don't hold up your paintings just yet, because I'm sure. Oh, hang on, who's that? Huh, is that yours? That's gorgeous. Lovely. I know some of you are going to be doing it in colouring pencils, which is absolutely fine too. If you don't have paints, that's okay. If you are doing it in colouring pencils, you can probably hold yours up. Isla, how are you doing?
I can't really like connect them. I'm finding that like the hard bit.
Sorry, how to correct them?
No, the connect like the two hearts.
The upside down bit. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can do completely freehand. You don't have to do another heart if you don't want to.
Okay.
You just do like a plain sort of round shape if you rather, or another triangle perhaps. Up to you. This is just to give you some ideas, so it's completely up to you. You can take it how you want to. Okay, I'm going to do the head of this one now. Or the front bit anyway. So I'm going to give him 2 eyes, quite big bulbous eyes here. And then I'm going to join those 2 up with the front of his head. Okay. All right, and now we're ready to start on the legs, these ones. I'm going to put the first set of legs coming out the very, very top of his body, so just underneath the eyes. Just here. And I'm going to do the same as I did before, so I'm going to do them in 3 sections. 1, 2, and then a little sort of foot at the end like that. And the same here as well. 1, 2, 3. It looks like he's dancing. Okay, and then in the middle of the body is where his middle, the second set of legs is going to go. You want to try and sort of space out the legs quite evenly, as best as you can. And then one this side too. Yeah, that one's a bit close to. Rub that bit out, sorry. Try not to smudge the one next door. Okay. 1, 2, 3. This looks like a bit like a, so it's like a grasshopper with these big legs. I'll do these ones coming down this way, I think. Now these are going to overlap He's got long legs, this one. Okay, how are you all doing? I'm going to rub out that line there, because to me it doesn't quite sit right on mine. It might look perfectly brilliant on yours, but on mine it didn't quite sit right, so I'm going to rub that one out. Okay, and actually I'm going to just change the legs slightly. This is why it's important to just press lightly with your pencil so you can rub it out easily. I'm going to change them like that. So they're going down a bit, I think that looks a bit better. I'm doing my bugs quite big. Don't have to do them as big if you don't want to. As you can see from my example, I did some really tiny ones and some rather big ones as well. So it does it better actually if they are all different sizes. Okay, I'm going to start painting this one now. I'll pick up my brush again. I'm going to choose a different colour. I'm not going to do the reds and oranges like before. I'm going to choose a different set of colours now. I think I'm going to do greens and yellows, I think. They go well together. And on my palette, actually, I've got 5 or 6 different types of greens on my, I'll show you on my palette. Some of you have got this palette, I know. So there's loads of different greens here. You can just use all of those if you wanted to. Have a good variation of greens. They work really well together. Okay, so with my paintbrush, dip it in the water. And I'm just going to fill in that big space as we did before, just with water. That first heart shape. Okay, it's slightly orangey my water because my previous bug was orange, but shouldn't be a problem. Okay, and then get your colour ready. And as we did before, just drop those colours on, just dabbing it on. You don't want to brush it too much, you just want to just dab it on if you're doing the paint. And then on the other side too, trying to keep it similar both sides, but it doesn't matter if it's not. And then while it's still wet, so you've got to work quite quickly with this, pick up another green or another colour and just dab it next to it so the colours can blend together. Okay, so I'm going to work my way down with this sort of like a bluey green. It's quite nice, turquoisey green. I know the camera doesn't always pick up the right exact colours, so just see how you go. I'm going to go back to that first green, like a grassy green right down there. Dabbing it on. Okay. And it's just so cool just watching all the colours blend together. I'm going for quite a dark green now. It's almost like a forestry dark green. And for this, I'm just going to go around the edges, slightly darker. Ooh, there we go. Got lots on it now. Don't know if you can see that. They look like marbles, all sort of blending together. All those colours swirling together. You can just help it along a bit if you feel it's a bit too concentrated in one area. You can sort of spread that out a bit. Put it on the other side too. Okay, so it will dry quite differently to how it looks right now. You might want to leave some white areas as well. If you've got like a bug which might have a shiny back, for example, lots of them have quite reflective surfaces, don't they? Like shiny wings and things. So you might want to leave a little bit of white to show that it's shiny. I did on this one as well, actually. Okay, I'm going to get my yellows out now. I'm going to do yellow head for this one. So I'm just going to dab the colours on around those eyes. With these eyes, I think I might just fill them in black with a black pen a bit later on rather than black paint. Okay. What I might do is actually add, if I try and put my brush a little bit closer to the green, what will happen is those colours will sort of like spread into sort of the head area, which actually looks quite cool. Just softens it a bit as well. going to add a bit of my favourite yellow, which is called yellow ochre. It's like a sandy colour. This one here. This one, like a yellowy brown, but I love it. Sorry. Put that on his head as well. Oops. Okay. Oh, Freya, that's very good. Freya's just written that she's grabbed some salt for the wings. Now, those of you who've done some workshops with me before, we put salt on watercolour before, and it's a bit hit and miss, but sometimes, if you're really lucky, salt makes all the colour, it kind of drags it all in and creates really lovely patterns. So you might have to get that. If you've got some salt granules, you can sprinkle them on and see what happens. I haven't got any salt just here, actually, so I'm not able to do that today, but. Okay. While I'm gonna let this body of this bug here dry a bit, and then I'm gonna do his legs while I'm waiting. I'm gonna do in that same yellowy colour. Okay. What I might do is add a little bit of green to that yellow that I've just put on the legs. A bit of dark green, just the bits which are closest to his body. And you'll see the colour just suddenly runs into the yellow. It looks lovely. Do the same on this one as well. How are we all doing? Everyone happy? Everyone looks very hard at work. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to grab a little bit of tissue paper, or kitchen paper, because I've got a puddle of paint on the bottom of my green bug. Just there, and it's going to take a while to dry. So what I'm going to do is just rip off a little bit of tissue, and I'm just going to dab it just quickly, just to try and soak up some of the excess paint. And actually, it does create quite nice textures as well if you do this with watercolour. Just makes it dry a bit quicker. Okay, now I'm going to work, now because that's a little bit drier, I can then do this bit without it worrying about running into each other. So I'm going to go for another green. I'm going to go for a different green this time. It's like a bright sort of pale sort of green. Bright, this green, it's like luminous almost. This one here, quite like that one. And I'm going to paint in the edges, the sides to him in that lovely colour. Okay. And then for the end bit here, that sort of upside down heart that we did, I'm going to do another green, a darker green. This bit here. I'm going to leave a white bit there, I think, and a white bit that side as well. Okay, I just finished in the legs on this one. Okay. And we're going to add texture to it, don't worry, once it's completely dry, okay? We can add more patterns and things to it. Can you carry on? Yeah, you can carry on, just keep going. You can do as many as you like. Or you can just do one big one if you'd rather. It's up to you how you do it, guys. Now I'm just going to let him dry now, this one here, and I'm going to go back to this one because this one is pretty much dry now. So I'm going to do the head on this one here, okay? So going back to my red and orange colour palette, I'm going to mix up, I'm going to make it quite a pale orange actually, just to put around the head, the upside down hearts in this bit here. We'll do it quite patchy, I think. And then if you want to, you can add more layers or maybe dots perhaps. This layer, the first layer should be completely dry now. So if you get your tiny little weenie brush, and you can add some texture with a different colour as well. So I'm going to go for a dark red. I'm going to add some more dots to it, just with my red, dark red. You can see it doesn't run now because it's completely dry underneath. It's not running at all now. It's looking a bit more interesting with more colours in it. Although that bit's a bit running, that bit's a bit wet still, but it doesn't matter. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to put a little bit more dark red on some of his legs as well, just the bits which are closest to his body. Just makes it look a bit more interesting. So again, because it's dry, it's not running. So you get a bit more definition. All right. Just be careful though, don't put your hand in this one here because it's still quite wet. Okay, I'm going to fill in those hearts in the middle now. On this one, nice orange colour. You can just experiment with what your brush can do as well. This one, I've just sort of, I'll show you if I hold it up to you. I've just sort of just filled in parts of it with quite a dry brush. Can you see that? So you don't have to fill the whole thing in if you don't want to. I'm going to make his nose a bit darker as well, I think. Dark, dark red. Maybe add some texture to it. There we go. Okay. Now, while those two are drying, I'm going to draw another little bug, but this one's going to be tiny and he's going to have little wings on him. So it's a bit like this one or this one here. Oh, I don't know if you can see that one actually. Can you see this one here? He's got lovely little feathery wings on him. So I'm going to have a go at drawing one of those. I think I might do this one here. He's got a nice pointy body. So I'm going to turn my paper around again so I don't put my hand in the wet paint I've just done. And I'm going to do this one. Let's do them so he's, yeah, we'll do this direction here. Okay, shall I leave those so you can still see them? Okay, so I'm going to do a bit smaller, this one. I'm going to do a little heart for his body. I'm doing this one here, guys, if you want to have a look at that one. So a little heart for his body. Okay. And then I'm going to do a point, like a pointy body, coming out from the side of the heart. It's got a really sort of a long body to him. A bit like a dragonfly, actually. A make-believe version of a dragonfly. It's got a nice pointy tip to him. Can you see that? Okay, and then I'm going to give him a wide head, so like a circle, half a circle, semicircle for his head there. Looks like he's got a hat on, doesn't it? And then little black eyes on the side. I'll colour those in with a fine liner later. Okay. And then to make the wings, this is the nice bit. You do two heart shapes, but you have to do these in really pale, and don't press too hard with your pencil because you do need to rub these lines out later to make the wings look nice and fluffy or sort of floaty. So I'm going to do some really pale hearts as wings here. Can you see that? I haven't pressed too hard because I need to rub them out. And then the one on the other side to make them matching. They don't have to be perfect shaped hearts, they can just be roughly that shape too. Okay. And he's got little legs, but only tiny little ones, this one. And they're coming out from underneath his wings. This definitely isn't anatomically correct, I know that, but it's just a bit of fun. And obviously he's got little antennae. Oh, I didn't do antennae on this one, did I? I have to put those in a minute. So this one's just got little ones coming out the side of his top of his head. Again, we're going to rub all these pencil marks out when it's completely dry, so don't worry too much. Okay. I'm going to use my small brush to paint this one. It's a lot smaller. And I just find I had better control over the colours if it's slightly smaller. And I'm going to make this one blue and pink. Or pink and purple, I think. A bit like this one here. Like that one. I like the colours in this one here. Okay, pink and purple. So I'm going to wet my brush first of all. Just painting the main part of the body just with water. And then just drop the paint on. It kind of just floods that area. And then with my purple colour, I'm going to drop that down right at the bottom, the tip. Make it quite concentrated, make it quite dark. I'm just going to keep adding colour to it. And help it along a bit with a bit of water if it's not blending. Hold up so you can see the colours blending together. Mine's not the neatest, I do apologise. Okay. And now for the wings. Now wings are they're very thin, aren't they? So we need to try and sort of do that really with our paint, and how we're going to do that is to make it really watery, our paint. So I'm going to make mine really pale pink. So it's quite watery today. There we go. And I'm just going to do little flicky lines coming out from his body, but I'm not going all the way to the end of that heart shape on his wing. I'm just doing tiny little flicky lines. I'm not going to fill in the whole shape though. Can you see? I'm going to add another little colour, a bit of purple again. Just to that area as well, the wing area. Dotting on. Oh, who's that? Flo, let me see. Gorgeous. Lovely. Really good. Oh, wow. Bo, you've been busy. You're on number 4 already. Fabulous. Hope they're not too wet. Don't hold them up if they are too wet. I don't want to be responsible for them all running. Oh, well done. Who's that? Is that Leo or is that Lukey? I think it might be Leo. It's lovely, Leo. Fabulous. Clemency, I love yours. I love his body. He's got a good pattern going on his body. That blue one. Yeah. Oh, Hux. Is that Hux or Liv? Can't see. I think it might be Hux. Love it. Well done. Fabulous, guys. He's looking really good. Those that I can see are looking brilliant. We'll have a big show of them in a minute when they're all completely dry. Okay. Okay, we're going to just do the heart shape in the middle of this one now, the chest area. So I'm going to mix together, I'm going to go for a different sort of colour now. I'm going to mix together a purple and a deep sort of pink colour, okay? It's going to be quite a strong, deep purple colour. I'm just going to mix that in there. So if you can see that, that's coming out, okay? It all looks almost black on the camera, but actually it is quite purpley. Okay, I'm going to leave a little bit of white at the bottom. Okay, and it will dry lighter. And I'm going to do the same sort of colour for his legs as well, just coming out underneath his wings, just here. And while I'm at it, I might do the antennae the same colour. Okay. Well, I might just dab that head actually because it's going to take a while to dry. We're not going to have time to do the drawing of it otherwise. There we go. Okay. I'm going to go back to my green bug now because I haven't done his antennae on here. And then when I've done that, I'm going to go back to the red bug and I'm going to do some pen and ink work on it. So I'll show you how to do that because we've only actually got 10 minutes left of our time. So we haven't got a huge amount of time left. But I do want to show you how to add detail with the pen, which does make a massive difference. Okay. So let me just do the antennae on the green guy first. Just going to draw them. I think it's easier to draw first. You might have already done yours because you were ahead of the game. There we go. So I'll do some dark green antennae for this one. Just be careful not to smudge my other one I've just done. Okay. Right. If you're ready, don't worry if you're not, but I will just show you how to do it so you can carry on with it a bit later on. If you haven't got to this stage yet, that's okay. Just be careful, as we did before, just move your paper around so you're not putting your hand in any of the wet parts, okay? Okay, now this is the fun part where you get to add patterns and little hairy things on his legs and stuff. I don't know if you can see on this pink one that I did before, this one here, he's got little hairy legs. Can you see that? The first section of each of his legs, he's got little hairs on them, which I think look quite cool. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but you will need a black fine liner to do them if you want to. So I'll show you how to do that. Okay. So you're just going to do tiny little marks along the top half of his legs. Tiny little hairs coming out. It's really hard to show you because it's so tiny. Can you see? Just be careful your pen doesn't go into any of the wet paint because it will ruin your pen. So just be super careful. Just check, you can just tap it with your finger to make sure it's completely dry before you do that. Okay. Just going to do it quite quickly. I'm going to whiz through this bit because this bit's quite easy to do. Okay. I'm going to show you now how to draw patterns on your bug, okay? And also how to do the eyes, because I think the eyes are quite important to make them look quite bug-like. Okay, so to go round, what I'm going to do first was go around the outside of my eyes first of all. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see this very clearly actually. See if I can zoom in a bit more. Hang on. I'm not sure I can. I'll hold up to show you in a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross hatch, which means do sort of like some lines going one way and then other lines going another way on top of the orange paint that I've already got there. So I've done one. Can you see that? I've given him a bit of a stripy eye. Can you see that? But I've left the white bit white. I haven't gone over that bit. And then I'm going to do lines the other way. So cross hatching to make little squares, like a grid over there. Oops, let's see. There we go. Can you see that I've done that eye? How I've done it? So I went around the outside of it in black fine liner first of all, and then I did little lines with a fine liner one way, and then on the other way as well, going a different direction. So I'll do that on both eyes. It just makes them look a bit more like bug-like, really. Okay, so stripes down one way, little lines, and then on the other way as well. Okay, it's very tricky to see when it's so small, I know, I'm sorry. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to go around each of the different shapes that I've drawn on this bug. Okay, so I'm going to outline it with a black fine liner. It just makes it look more defined. So over to his antennae. Just going around it and around that heart shape on his nose, or his mouth. And what I might do actually, I could do some patterns within those shapes. So I could do spots, for example, I could do stripes, I could do zigzags, but I might do zigzags on this red heart here. I'll hold it up to show you in just a second. There we go. Can you see? So with my fine line, I've just added pattern to the very, very tip of this bug's head in that heart shape I did before. And then on the other antennae as well, around his head. You can put as much or as little of fine line on as you want. It's up to you. You might not want to do it on the antennae. You might not want to do it at all. Just think it adds a little bit of definition though. And what I'm going to show you on this leg as well, if I can do it holding up, showing it at the same time. Can you see the middle part of this leg here? I'm going to draw some little lines and stripes going up it. It's a bit wibbly wobbly because I'm holding it up in the air. Can you see that? It adds a little bit of texture to his legs. How are you doing, Tibby? Are you okay? Okay, so little lines in his legs.
Yes.
Super dupes. I can't wait to see yours. So he's got stripy legs now. So we're just basically just adding detail. A bit more interest to our bugs. So you can go crazy with your patterns if you want to, or you can be really subtle with it, up to you. Now I haven't gone around the outside of the main heart shape on this one, so I'm going to do that now. Round we go, round the top bit. Around the very tip as well. I'm going to go with that line that I drew down the middle as well in a black fine liner. Okay. Okay. I'm going to move on to this one here now. I'm going to skip that green one for a second. I'm just going to show you how to do the wings on this one. Okay. So just check it's dry just by tapping with your finger. It should be dry. Depends how much water you put on. I'm going to go around the outside of each of those shapes. That first heart shape you did. And then round the body too. And what I'm going to do to this one here, I'm going to add some black lines which kind of go around around the width of his body. Or her, could be her. If you can see this, I've done little lines. Can you see that to make it a bit more 3D? This one here. Have a go at that if you can. And then over his little legs too. Okay, now with this bug's eyes, I'm just going to colour in the whole eye apart from a little white circle in my black fine liner. So he's got proper bug eyes, this one. There we are, can you see him? So just leaving a little white circle in the middle of each of his eyes, but you can just use a fine liner to colour that in. It's much easier than doing black paint because black watercolour, oh, Annabelle, that's looking good. Black watercolour doesn't turn out black, it just turns out grey unless you put loads of layers on. So it's a bit time consuming doing that. So the little antennae. Okay. And then with his wings, the bit which joins to his body, you just want to do tiny little, like flicky little lines coming out from the body onto his wing. I'll show you. Can you see that there? Whoops. Can you see it there? We've got tiny little lines just coming out onto the coloured bit of your wing. We're not going to do any pen around the outside of it, okay? Because it'll make it look too heavy. And you want to keep them quite nice and fluttery. So just from the body, fanning them out. Okay, now I've left the head of this one plain, I've left it white, but I'm going to add some detail with my black fine liner. And I'm going to go right from the centre of that first heart that I did, and I'm just going to draw lines coming out from that one spot. So it's a bit like a fan coming out. Can you see that? Add a bit of pattern to his head. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can do your own patterns on it. Whatever you want to do. Okay. So he's pretty much done, but when he's completely dry, I'm going to rub out those pencil lines around his on his wings, okay? Because I don't want to have them there. I'm going to get rid of those in a second, but it's still a little bit wet, so I'm going to leave that for a second, okay? Now, if you've got time, I know it's nearly 11 o'clock. If you've got time to carry on, we can work on this on the green bug here. I'm going to add stripes and different patterns to his body. Okay, so I'm going to go around the outside of him again, like I did before, just around those shapes with my black fine liner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add stripes to these side bits. He's got these side panels on his body. With my black fine line, I'm just going to draw a line just parallel to those sides. And I'll hold it up so you can see it more clearly. Can you see that? He's got stripy sides to him. Okay. We haven't done his eyes on this one, so I'm going to do the same as I did for this bug's eyes, the black bit with the white hole in the middle. I'm going to make the white circle a bit bigger. And then I'm just going to use my fine liner just to colour in that eye. Or you could do that sort of the stripy thing that we did first of all on this bug here. Up to you. So I'm going to shade that in with my fine liner. It's very fine liner, so it takes a while. There we go. And you could just add patterns to his head if you wanted to. You could do little circles, dots. I'm doing little dots on mine. I'm just whizzing through this now, guys, because I know it's nearly past our time, but just want to show you what you could do with them. How are we doing with yours, guys? Are you all right? If you have finished and it's dry enough, would you be able to hold them up and show me? Because I'd love to see them. I might just move you onto gallery so I can see you all. We will share them. Let's have a look and see. Oh, wow. Guys, you've been so busy. You've done loads more than I thought you would do. That's so cool. Brilliant. Isla, don't look so worried. They look brilliant. I love them. You look worried. Flo, I love yours too. Let's see who else we've got on the next screen. Hang on, let's see. Oh, Annabelle Sudlow, I like yours. I love that yellow one. He's very cool. Let's see. Amelia, I love the pink one. Look at all the different colours. Oh, Felicity's got, I thought Felicity, that's Freya, isn't it? Stripy one there, Freya. Brilliant. Who's that? Is that Nellie's? Beautiful, Nellie. I love it. All the detail in these are amazing. These are so good, guys. Well done. You can keep going with these. Don't let me stop you. Carry on with them. Add detail, add pattern, add more colours if you want to. You can layer them up if you want. If you feel your colours have sort of dried, if they've dried a bit lighter than you wanted them to, you could always add a little bit more colour on top to make it a bit more intense. Okay. Oh, Alex, let me see yours. I didn't see yours. Is he gone now? He might have gone. Very good. Well done, guys. Super impressed with all of these. Don't forget to take photos of them and send them to me if you can, please. I'd love to see them all close up in a photograph form, if that's okay. Just email them to me or WhatsApp them to me if you've got my number, or put them on the Facebook page or on Instagram. I'd love to see them all. And then I can share them as well if you want me to. How did you do, May? Nice to see you, by the way, looking very smiley this morning.